Brien from LS Securities.
Hi.
Thank you for agreeing to this interview today.
My pleasure.
Okay. And so please tell us your name and your job title.
My name is Dave Toth. I'm the Director of Technical Research at R.J. O'Brien, and I've been with R.J. O'Brien since 2007.
And can you briefly explain your key responsibilities and previous experience?
I've always been a technical analyst that has been responsible for helping customers navigate the ebbings and flowings of many of the commodities markets technically, and also to derive option strategies built upon that technical analysis to identify risk that they're taking in the markets, both on a retail and an institutional or commercial scale.
And can you share your experience working as an analyst?
I started in 1981, and a very important person to me who was involved in the markets at the time said, Dave, you need to become a student of the markets. And 43 years later, I've never forgotten that because everybody wants to know where the markets are going and some kind of cogent assessment of that. And I've tried to live by that every day, and I am a 43-year student of the markets.
And why did you choose to become an analyst?
That's a good question. I kind of fell into it early, but the more that I understood it, back in my very early days, I was a really good baseball player. And for big games, I always wanted the ball in my hand and to be responsible for what was going on in that game. And being an analyst, it's kind of the same thing. You have to own and be responsible for your assessment of the markets when you're conveying it to the customers. And I feel that I am built that way, and it works very well for me. I enjoy that role.
Oh, interesting. And what kind of personality do you think is well suited for an analyst?
You have to be thick-skinned, because when you're identifying risk and the way the markets are, you are going to be wrong at times. And it's important to be able to describe precisely where and when you're wrong, and then to make the adjustment and move forward. And if you can't do that, you're probably not going to be a good analyst for very long. And it also helps to be very detailed oriented and be comfortable with explaining, being explanative in what you believe the market's doing and where it might be going.
And on the same boat, in your opinion, what are some attributes that would make an analyst successful?
Very good question. Whenever I hear the word success, I think of a quote from Benjamin Disraeli. Benjamin Disraeli was a prime minister of Great Britain back in the 19th century. And he said, quote, "The secret to success is constancy of purpose," end quote. And I have a constancy of purpose in analyzing the markets dutifully for our clients every day. And you can't have constancy of purpose unless you really enjoy what you're doing. And I really enjoy what I do.
And what does your typical day at work look like?
Typical day starts about 4:30 in the morning because I have 30 different commodities markets that I assess. And generally speaking, especially in the financial markets, treasury notes, currencies, the metals, the brokers in RJO's system will be starting their calls to their customers by between 7 and 7:30 in the morning. And I want them to be prepared with what I believe are some of the best technical situations in those markets. And of the 30 markets that I cover, I can only prioritize the most important ones by making sure I visit every one of them before 7 o'clock. And it usually takes me a couple hours to get done with that, and then to start creating and posting that analysis to our website.
Can you share some of your memorable work experiences?
I have memorable work every day when I can help customers navigate trend changes in the markets, especially big ones. When for instance, when the S&Ps topped out back in January of 2022, to help clients navigate that reversal lower was very gratifying. But then again, that's my job. So I have memorable days every day.
Wow, that's nice to hear. And what made you join RGO?
I started working out of college back in 1981 at a really good family commodities firm called Gelderman. And I worked there for 14 years before they got bought out by a British firm. And I really loved the culture of that company. And many years later, back in 2007, I was working for UBS Investment Bank, currencies and metals analysis. And we made a sales call to RJ Brien. And the moment I walked in the door here, I felt the same culture that I had at Gelderman. And to this day, now 17 and a half years later, I believe the culture here is fantastic, and I really enjoy working here.
And in RGO, how influential do you think an analyst is?
Extraordinarily influential for a couple of reasons. First of all, I have pretty direct relationship and accountability with customers. And their trading days, their trading portfolios, I like to feel that I contribute to the success of those. But then also from contributing to RJO's culture as a small cog in their entire wheel. I know my contributions are appreciated, as I appreciate the contributions of others that I'm working with. It all comes down to providing our clients with some of the best service on the street.
Last but not least, for people who aspire to become an analyst, what advice would you give them?
I kind of already answered that earlier, but I'll say it again. You have to want the ball in your hands. You want to be the person that is making the analysis to be helpful to that customer in navigating the markets. And that takes a lot of detail. It takes constancy of purpose. It requires thick skin. And it requires a reliable effort every day. But there are a lot of opinions on the markets. Everyone's got an opinion on the market. But if I'm responsible for helping each individual client do better, that's very gratifying, and I enjoy that challenge every day. And it is a challenge, but if you enjoy what you're doing, it's easy to have constancy of purpose.
And that's it for the interview. Thank you so much for agreeing to this interview again.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You know, I asked many questions about beer brewing.
Oh.
Beer brewing? You weren't with us Sunday. I own a brewery also, craft brewery. They were there.